Hello everyone, welcome to our channel CodeChef. This is Kusmulata Bhatt and today we are going to solve the problem Morning Assembly from CodeChef platform. It is of Cakewalk difficulty level and it requires no prerequisites. So let's understand the problem statement first. You are the principal of the cake school in Chefland and today is your birthday. You want to treat each of the children with a small cupcake which is made by you, but there is a problem. You don't know how many students are present today. The students have gathered of the morning assembly in R rows and C columns. Now you have to calculate how many cakes you have to make such that each child gets a cupcake. So what is our task? We have to calculate the number of students who have been gathered in the morning assembly in R rows and C columns. So we have to simply calculate how many students are going to be there. So let's first see what is the input format for the problem is going to be. So the first line is going to contain the integer t, which is going to give us the number of test cases, and then for each test case we are going to have a single line of input in which there will be two integers r and c. Now for each test case we have to output the number of cupcakes we have to make. Now the constraint for the problem is t is going to lie between 1 and 1000 and r and c value is going to lie between 2 and 10 to the power 6. So now let's see how we can solve this problem. Let's assume that we have only one row and one column. Then for this case, we are going to have the situation like this. Now let's one denote that there is a student here. So in this case, we are only going to have one student. Now let's say r equal to 1 and we are increasing the number of columns. Then in this case, there will be two ones. That is, there will be two students. So there are two students here. Let's say r equal to 1, c equal to 3. So we are going to have 1, 1, 1. That is 3 students. So as our column increase, we are going to have one more student. So for let's say x value as y, we are going to have y times 1 here. So there will be total y ones here. So we can say that we are going to have y students here. Now let's increase r value also. So when r equal to 2 and c equal to y, then we are simply going to have this row of y students 2 times. So how many total students we are going to have? We are simply going to have 2 into y students. So let's say we again increase the row value r equal to 3 and c equal to y. Then again we are going to have 3 rows having y students. So here the total number of students will be 3 into y. So let's say we have x rows and y columns. So for this case, we are going to have y students x number of times. So we are going to have y students in x row or x number of times. So in this case, we are going to have x into y students. So this makes it clear that for the given value of r and c, we are going to have r into c students. So the total answer is r into c only. So let's see this on some of the test cases. So here t value is 1, that is we are going to have one test case only. Here r equal to 5 and c equal to 10. So here what will be the number of total students? The total number of students is going to be 5 into 10, that is 50, which is the output here. So let's see how we can implement this solution. So for implementing this solution, we simply need to take the input of t and then for each test case, we have to take the input of r and c. Then we have to simply output the value r into c. So this is going to give us the answer for every test case. So the time complexity and space complexity both are going to be O of 1 for every test case, because we are using the constant number of operations and variables here. So now let's have a look on the C++ implementation of the code. Here we are taking the input of number of test cases. Then for each test cases, we are taking the input of R and C value. So here I am taking the long data type of ans and simply typecasting R into C, because in the constraints we are given R and C value can lie in the range of 1 and 10 to the power 6. After then we are simply printing the answer. Let's have a look on the Python code. Here we are taking the input of test cases. Here for each test case, we are taking the input of R and C value, and then we are printing R into C simply to the screen. Now let's have a look on some of the common mistakes we could have in this code. So one of the mistake we could have here is we are storing the product in the variable having int data type, which could have resulted in the integer overflow, and our code will then be resulting in the wrong answer. So we can simply correct it by typecasting the product of two numbers to long and storing it in a long variable. So that's it for the video, guys. Thanks for watching.